It's Friday, the 25th of June 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. In today's headlines, staff shortages are hampering business and could trigger wage and interest rate rises sooner than expected. Plus, New South Wales resists further lockdowns as the COVID crisis spreads. The Victorian Royal Commission into Crown Resorts hears allegations of massive money laundering, and buy now, pay later giant Afterpay moves into ghost cards. Our lead story today, business is struggling to find staff. There aren't enough applicants for jobs, and those who do apply often don't have the correct skills base. Some of the staff most in demand include hospitality workers, sales staff, engineering and science professionals, and drivers. And 1 in 5 businesses say they don't have enough workers. The new data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics shows that it's large and medium-sized businesses struggling most. While around 70% of small businesses aren't having problems finding people, more than 40% of large businesses are. The survey, which was conducted earlier this month, says that international border closures, uncertain economic conditions, and job location were all reasons why it's difficult to find staff. More traditional concerns among workers, pay, conditions, working hours, those types of things, were well down the list of priorities. It's a pretty incredible story given JobKeeper ended less than 3 months ago and the economy was in recession last year. What it means is that pressure will come on wages, and eventually they will rise. Sustainable wage rises will feed into inflation. When that happens, and keeps happening, the Reserve Bank will lift interest rates. In overseas news, it was a strong night on Wall Street after US President Joe Biden reached a deal with Congress on a $1 trillion 5-year infrastructure deal. The S&P 500, Nasdaq and Dow Jones Industrial Average were all up. The Delta strain of COVID-19, that's the one causing so much concern in New South Wales, has swept across the United Kingdom and Europe and is now hitting the United States. The strain was first identified in India, is highly contagious, and is responsible for about 40% of the latest wave of cases. Significantly, the people catching the Delta variant are the ones who haven't yet been vaccinated. And John McAfee, the eccentric founder of McAfee antivirus software, has died in a jail in Spain, ahead of his extradition to the United States. The 75-year-old was one of the first software entrepreneurs and sold his business in the 1990s before becoming a globe-trotting, gun-toting character arrested 21 times in 11 different countries. Locally, New South Wales recorded 5 new community-transmitted COVID cases yesterday, in addition to 6 announced on Wednesday night but counted in Thursday's figures. Only one case was a mystery case where the cause was unknown, while another was the State Agricultural Minister Adam Marshall. A number of high-profile politicians, including Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce and New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian, were casual contacts and tested yesterday. Both came back negative. China has launched a World Trade Organization complaint against Australia, saying anti-dumping tariffs were unfairly imposed on stainless steel kitchen sinks, railway wheels and wind towers. The action ramps up hostilities, which were already pretty ferocious. Federal Trade Minister Dan Tehan said the government was only told of the action hours before it occurred, and Australia would defend itself. It comes a week after Australia referred China's wine tariffs on the local drop to the WTO. The Bureau of Statistics released figures showing that household wealth hit a new record during the March quarter, with per capita wealth reaching $492,055. The big jump during the quarter came as a result, of course, of higher house prices. There was an incredible story out of the Victorian Royal Commission into Crown Resorts yesterday. Crown allowed high rollers to shift more than $160 million over 4 years out of China by linking payments from Chinese credit cards to Crown's Southbank Hotel reception. They were then made available in cash for patrons to gamble, according to a report in the Financial Review. The individual amounts processed were often just below the $10,000 limit that triggers anti-money laundering alarms. Endeavour Group, the former Woolworths liquor and gaming business, hit the bourse yesterday, coming on at $6.60 a share, falling as low as $5.77 before closing at $6.02. That values the group, which owns Dan Murphy's and BWS bottle shops, 293 hotels and more than 12,000 poker machines, at a bit over $10 billion. Woolworths shareholders received 1 Endeavour share for each supermarket share held. Woolies' share price fell 11% yesterday, reflecting the demerger. And buy now, pay later market leader Afterpay has changed tack and will issue virtual credit cards in the US through its app, opening the way to provide payment solutions at a broader range of retailers, including Amazon. Until now, Afterpay has been focused on normal buy now, pay later services. But in the US, competitors including Klarna and QuadPay, which is owned by Zipco, have made inroads by issuing what's known as a ghost card. It means the provider's app can be used to pay for goods and services from non-affiliated retailers. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. Make sure you hit follow so you get it every morning. And if you'd like more detail and more stories, search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. We also release a daily interview. Today we're talking to Nine's political editor Chris Uhlmann about the crazy week in Canberra. I'll be back later with the afternoon market report. I'm Sean Aylmer. Have a great day.